see the Bombers fly up.
Welcome everyone to the Tonkin Legal Group, home of the Australian Family Law Podcast, the AFLP. Definitely not the official podcast of the Australian Football League. It is I, Joe, up and about for once in a long time. We're up and about, joined by St.
Go that Bombers.
Calm the dogs. How are you, St. John?
Yeah, the Bombers. I'm well, although when you passed me the wooden spoon earlier today, that was a little bit hard to take. But only one can win it, and we're calling this Harry. Is it Harry?
It's Harry.
It's Harry Van Hattem's spoon. No, folks, it's a wooden spoon, and the Tigers currently hold it. That's why I'm holding it this session. So, well done to the Bombers. I didn't see it coming, but it came, and it was a win. Is a win. Is a win.
Oh, massive thank you, Jake Stringer. Like you can take Stringer out of Essendon, but you can't take Essendon out of Stringer. Thank you so much, Jakey boy. 0 goals, 7, the first time since 2003, and we take it because we win by 3. It is poetic justice. How are you, Charlie?
I'm very well, thanks, Joe. Just sitting back, enjoying the glory of the Bombers over the weekend. So what a win! I'm shattered for you that you didn't get to be there in person, but it is what it is.
I watched it very closely, but I'm sure very soon you're going to be sick of it because I've been playing the theme song every time I've walked past your office. Are you sick of it yet?
I'm not sick of it. Probably come tomorrow afternoon I might be, when it's ringing in my ears overnight.
Again.
But see the Bombers fly up. All is forgiven for the 2000 grand final. We love the Bombers. Go the Bombers.
Thank you guys. It's amazing.
Oh.
The pity being felt across the nation for the Bombers right now. It's off the charts, and I'm not saying no because we felt pretty sorry for ourselves. What were you about to say there, St. John?
I was just going to say that. How long has it been? It's been over a year, hasn't it, since you've celebrated a win?
Yep.
In Victoria. So we obviously beat the D's in Gather Round earlier this year.
Yes.
Doesn't count. The last time we won in Victoria was Dreamtime last year in May. It was, I think they said, 422 days between drinks in Victoria.
Well, there's a very small crowd there, but they were certainly full of voice.
Raucous, absolutely. It was wonderful.
More than anything, I'm just relieved that the D's aren't the only team this year to go down to the Bombers. With all due respect, Joe, I'm very relieved.
That's clever. Yeah, good work. And the D's got up again, mate. Look,
we
you know,
did.
the lid. I can still hear the lid creaking.
It's
lifting.
Yeah, it's gradually bubbling away, but just another day in the office for the D's. Good to get a win at Marvel. We don't tend to play too well at the Darklands.
Yes, awful place.
Shocking place, but very nice in Medallion Club there, though. So that was a lovely experience there. Thanks to Harry for getting us tickets there.
Oh yeah, tell us about the plush environs of the Medallion Club.
It was very nice. It helped the transition away from the MCC at the MCG. It definitely helped that transition out of the luxury. Jeez,
They have the fold-up cheese boards in the Medallion room, don't they?
No, but
on
they should.
Every seat?
Only for Melbourne games, yeah. I think they install that. Yeah.
And the Merlot flows.
The Merlot, the Boston Valley Shiraz, I think they serve it just for D's fans. I think just to help them with the getting outside their comfort zone from leaving the MCC. So
True.
It's nice of them to help us out of our comfort.
There needs to be some. You go for it.
I hear there was a dump of snow, so it was good to see five of you there, and the rest were heading up the mountain. So
yeah, no, they were. So They're a well-oiled machine at the moment. Kingies D's. We're just firing on all cylinders. So it's looking very good. What about the Tigers, St. John? How you feeling?
Well, the prop says it all. This is it. We're in line for the next wooden spoon, which means we can top up with some more youngsters. Just what we need. No, we want to win. We want to get off the bottom. And I'm confident that by the end of the year, this will be moving to the left into Joe's hands.
Yes. We have no more winnable games. I mean, we needed that win. We've got
And we
the
do.
Hawks. Yeah, you got West Coast at the G. We've got the
Oh.
Hawks, Adelaide, Sydney, Geelong and Geelong, and then maybe a farewell game to Zach Butters to end the season. So we've got a very difficult run home. You guys have a manageable win potentially at the G against the Eagles.
They were good
So-
against the Lions, though, weren't they? The Eagles. Bloody hell.
They were
They're
at
good.
home.
Yeah.
At home though, they're playing you at the G, so they're
Yeah.
about a 6-goal worse team playing away from home than they are at home.
Well, let's hope we can find a bit of effort for that game and get ourselves up. But ultimately, it really is one of those situations, isn't it, where you finish last, you're probably going to get the best pick. You finish second, it's a bit of a lottery.
Well,
long
you want
as
to get
it's
as
not-
many.
Here you go.
So I was going to say you want to get as many top picks in as you can before the new 20th side, the Tassie 20th or 19th?
Mm.
19.
The Tassie Devils come in, who had some big news over the weekend, Joe.
They did well transition there, Charlie. Well done. You are
Thank
a
you.
natural at this. The segue, new segue king. Yes, we got a new dad. We got a new coach. We got a new leader in the AFL, Ken Hinkley. The father figure, the leader, the one who has a really good win-loss record in a home and away season. Never made it to a grand final, despite all of his years at the helm at Port Adelaide, but someone who is highly regarded nonetheless, and he pips out the distraught Nathan Buckley, the washed up John Longmire for the job. So well done to Ken Hinkley, the latest coach, the inaugural coach of the Tassie Devils.
On your Hinkers. Yeah, St. John and I were
I
talking
think he's got
about this
the
earlier.
apart from not having two heads, I think he's got the Tasmanian DNA. Now, he's a country lad, coached in the country, coached in Geelong, but he's been picked because he is a father figure, I think, and he is able to sell that club to the state, not just to a town, and sell it to young and upcoming players. So I think he's a really good choice, and he fits that mould perfectly. It's a 5-year deal. Geez, I mean, you could pick up 2 players from every club and still not be good enough for 5 years. So I think
Wow.
it's going to be a difficult job. But it sounds to me like he's the right man for the job at the moment. And
Yeah, I
if Benny
didn't know
Gale
that.
gives him his stamp of approval, then
Yeah.
he must be doing something right.
He's a good operator, Benny Gale, and
Mm.
yeah, like we spoke about earlier, St. John, I think Hinkers is the man to galvanise, that regional areas. He's done it down in Geelong, he's done it at Port Adelaide, and he's that kind of nurturing father figure that it just seems like everyone that plays for Hinkers loves him. Butters loves him. All the other Port players loved him. So I think he's that nurturing father figure that's probably well suited to a new expansion club.
Exactly right.
Even
And
Ginnivan loves him.
Exactly right. He's won him over.
come fly with me, he says. But yes,
Yeah.
it's very nice, and just this idea sort of came at a really good time. This news, because we noticed looking at the various topics that we have covered, and we have covered quite a few of them on the podcast. What is one area that we haven't sort of spoken a bit more about, and it's really a bit more in terms of what parenting arrangements could look like. We've obviously, briefly spoken in big picture terms of how you can finalise your parenting arrangement, but never really spoken about what a parenting arrangement might look like. So a massive thank you to the Tassie Devils for appointing their inaugural coach this week, because it fits at a perfect time where we can now start talking about the parenting, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'll let you, I guess, take us away, SH, with
Okay.
parenting.
Well, I think there's a bit of indecision or lack of information in the community about what is an appropriate parenting arrangement. So how many nights per week or per fortnight? We at the Tonkin Legal Group generally work on fortnightly periods. So I would say that the standard for a separation where mum's typically the primary carer during the relationship and dad's been the primary income earner. That doesn't always happen, and I'm not stereotyping, but that can be the run-of-the-mill type of family law arrangement. Is dad should be getting around 5 nights per fortnight with the children, and that can be structured in any way you like. It generally works around every second weekend, say from Friday through to Monday morning, collect from school Friday, drop off at school Monday, and then a couple of nights through the second week in a 2-week cycle where dad can catch up with the children again midweek and see how they're going with school and homework and sporting activities, and have a substantial role in their day-to-day lives. So that's about getting some leisure time with your children and also some cut and thrust of the week where you've got to do school lunches, uniforms, readers, homework, supervision and things like that. So probably 5 out of 14 is the standard. But having said that, the world is your oyster in these matters. You can negotiate with your former partner whatever arrangements you like, as long as it's in the best interest of the children. And as parents, that the theory is a child's better suited or better adjusted as an adult if they have a strong and healthy relationship with both parents.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, St. John. I think, and like what you just raised then, the key issue, as always, with parenting matters, and when discussing parenting arrangements, is what's in the best interests of the children, and that factors in, obviously, if there's any risk considerations, whether that's family violence or any other particular risk factors, that clearly needs to be at the forefront of the discussion when talking about what parenting arrangements are most suitable for your particular matter. But I think anything that promotes stability and routine for the children, and where there is, that typically that 9 to 5 arrangement that you were discussing, St. John, it's always going to be something that's suitable where there is typically one parent that has significant work commitments, whereas the other parent may have more capacity to undertake a lot more of those homemaker and parenting activities, whether it's the pickups, the drop-offs, the homework, the readers, those sorts of things. So, and I think when discussing parenting arrangements, typically you would look at the different ages of the children, because as we know, for very younger children, different parenting arrangements are generally recommended compared to older children when they're getting into their teenage years.
Yeah. And people might be surprised to be hearing that a 9-5 arrangement is probably among the more common or standard living arrangements between parties, because well, I'm their dad, or I'm their mum, or I'm their parent, I should have equal time. But ultimately, it's whilst you both have decision-making authority and responsibility to make the best decisions on behalf of your children, there is no presumption of equal time. That is a myth, that just because you're both parents, it means both of you need to spend equal time. That is not the case. The Family Law Act is quite clear that the paramount consideration is what is in the children's best interest, or the child's best interest if it's only one that we're talking about. And a lot of these discussions, I suppose, and factors that will be considered might be things along the lines of safety, for example, for the child, or the capacity of one parent. What has happened in the past and what's going to continue into the future. Has there been one party one parent who has been the regular decision maker? Is the other parents living very far away from each other? Just even a practical obstacle of dad lives 3.5 hours away from mum's house. Well, can you if that's the case, is it really in the child's best interest to be spending 3.5 hours to get to dad's place, to spend 2 nights and then go 3.5 hours back the other way? So there's a lot of factors that need to be considered so that you can put forward what is a workable, feasible parenting arrangement that really is in your child's best interest, not just simply a matter of, I'm a parent, I have the right, because parents don't have rights. Children have rights to have a loving working relationship with their parents. Parents have responsibilities to make sure that their children's best needs are met.
I think that's a really important point, because a lot of clients are talking about what they think is in the best interest of their children, and ultimately they're probably the best to assess that. But simply splitting the time down the middle or having a 50-50 shared arrangement is 9 times out of 10 not in the children's best interests. It might suit the interests of the parent, and it might be a nice, even and fair way of doing things. But if that involves a child having to get up every week and move everything, their clothes, their school books, their laptops, etc., back to mum's place or back to dad's place, that kind of upheaval is not always great for kids. So I think I was reminded of what judges have said to me in the past in the family court, and that is, Mr. Heath, it's not about quantity, it's about quality of time. So you can have a strong and very healthy relationship with a child that doesn't necessarily amount to a shared or 50-50 arrangement.
And particularly if historically one parent's been the primary caregiver, and then all of a sudden there's this flip in the arrangements and one parent becomes I guess an equal caregiver to the other in that example, St John, in that shared care arrangement. Well, the children aren't used to that, and neither is that particular parent. So there's that kind of upheaval, like you suggested.
It doesn't work.
It's not going to work.
And then you've got a situation where people say, well, look, I'll just employ a nanny.
Exactly.
And I'll go off to work and I'll employ a nanny to look after my children. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no law against it. But ultimately, I think a court's going to say if one biological parent's available, the child should be with that parent. But look, it's a difficult tightrope to walk, and we as family lawyers appreciate how difficult it is when a relationship between a parent and a child is interrupted or severed for a short period of time. But the experts say quantity is not better than quality. So I think people need to keep that in mind when looking at arrangements. And look, we've talked in the past about parenting plans, talked in the past about parenting orders. As Joe, you were mentioning earlier, people are free to come to their own arrangements, aren't they?
100%. And what they do in their time, I suppose, is a matter for them. But ultimately, you're supposed to be coming up with an arrangement that would be for your children's children's benefit. Now, that could very well be that you could get a nanny, but would you be spending substantial and significant time with your child if you were to do that? Are you spending that meaningful are you having that regular involvement, for example, in your child's life? Because it might be something that you can have now that can be reached by agreement, and it might be something that you have by consent order, but is that going to be fostering and building that strong relationship between parent and child, where as they get older and they start to vote with their feet, that previous agreement that you might have had on paper, if you haven't, I suppose, had that substantial and significant time with your child, could very well mean that this quantity of time with low quality can end up leading down the track to you no longer having any quantity or quality in the future. So it's a really fine line that you need to be following and emphasizing it early.
You mentioned something earlier, and I think Charlie wanted to talk to this issue, but older children, Charlie, where people are imposing arrangements on 15 and 16-year-olds purely just to, I want to have 50% of my time with my children, notwithstanding their age, their level of development, their social groups. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, if you put yourself in your own shoes when you're 15 and 16, and if you're in that age bracket and you're getting forced to go and spend time with a parent that you, for whatever reason, you don't want to, well, good luck forcing a 16-year-old to go and implement those parenting arrangements. So that's why it's important to remember that parenting arrangements, they can be fluid and they can change. So depending on the age of the children, like Joe said, the older children in the later teenage years, they're always going to decide with their feet, or their views are always going to become a lot more relevant. Whereas for the far younger children, it's from what we've learned, from what the child psychologist experts have suggested, is that there always needs to be that primary carer. And then, the time with the other parents is a lot more limited. And, certainly a 50-50 shared care arrangement wouldn't be appropriate generally for a 2 or 3-year-old. But those arrangements can change as the children get older. It's not necessarily the case that it needs to be locked in, those parenting arrangements. That those arrangements can be fluid as the children grow older.
I remember the expert telling me years ago about a child under the age of 2 who is extremely close to their primary carer. And when their primary carer leaves the room, they think they're disappeared. So short periods of time away from that carer can be traumatic for a child under the age of 2. So people who maybe have unrealistic expectations about overnight visits with newborns really need to think about whether or not that's in the child's best interests. The experts again say with young children, it's short, regular visits to build a bond. But ripping the child away from their primary carer, whether it's mum or dad in whatever situation, can be extremely damaging for a child.
Even if it's coming from a good place, like, I want to spend time. This is my child, and I love my child, but you obviously want to see your child, and no one's no one's begrudging you that wish. It's a very positive, wonderful thing that you want to have a great relationship with your child. But sometimes it can be difficult to understand that the child-focused thing is to give the space, is to accommodate the child's needs. And there is plenty of psychosocial science out there, which we tend to be across, and we'd like to attend a lot of these updated informational sessions from various child psychologists, who are the people that get appointed to draft child impact reports and family reports. And it is incumbent upon us to always be attending those so that we can best advise clients and parents about and presenting some child inclusive, child focused parenting arrangements. So please, always recommended, contact your family lawyer sooner to get that advice before you make any drastic decisions or act in a way that could be seen to be not child focused. A bit like how Tassie, we're very quick to get onto it. We want to point Ken Hinkley, Bucks, nut stuff you. We don't want you. Go back to Geelong. You're not stringing them along. You're being clear.
And now Kenny's the father of all those little devils running around down there, and the little devils to be. Good luck to you, Kenny. It's going to be hard work, but I think you've got the mettle for it and the skills.
Father Ken.
Father Kenny.
I love it.
Father
Who
of
needs Father
Tassie.
Chris? Who needs Father
Mm.
Christmas when you've got Father Keddy? And on that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoy what you had to see or hear from us today, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to not miss out on any of our regular uploads, regular episodes. And if any of this information that we covered today was something that went a bit over your head and was a bit more incomplex, please head on over to our previous episodes where we've spoken big picture and laid down the groundwork. The podcast thing is going to take a bit of a different avenue, different direction moving forward now that we've covered a lot of ground, and we're always open for people suggesting what they'd like to learn more about for future episodes. Send through your Q&As. We'll be more than happy to answer some of the commonly asked questions. And if you're listening to us on Spotify as well, that applies to you. Rate us 5 stars and reach out to us through there. St. John and Charlie, it's a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Joe. And again, well done, the Bombers. I was going to say the D's.
Yeah, now go D's as well. Go D's. Thanks, Sinjin. Thanks, Joe. And good luck for the wooden spoon race for the rest of the year.
It's on. It's on.
It's on. It's off. Jack's on. Jack's off. Artemis. No, all right. That was pretty bad. See you guys.